Good morning. It is Tuesday training, and I am Coach Candy. Welcome to Coffee Chats. It is so fantastic to have you here. I can't believe we are going into almost a month of doing these live Facebook Live every morning. So it's been absolutely an honor to be here with all of you. Hope you are getting your dose. Good morning, Myra. Hope you're getting your dose of coffee. I need a little this morning. There has been some serious winds in Austin, and I get quite the, good morning, Deborah. I get quite the wind tunnel effect sometimes. Yes, definitely coffee, lots of coffee. And let's just say it was howling pretty good, and being a lighter sleeper, it made for a bit of a challenging sleep night. So I apologize if I'm a little tired and a little slower this morning. I'm sure I'll ramp things up, so no worries there. Anyway, how is everyone doing? Good morning, good morning. It is Tuesday. Good morning, Jeff. I'm just going to take in some of that bulletproof coffee and get my blood pumping, get the energy going in my body. So we're going to get into a conversation today, with it being Tuesday training, around prioritization and productivity. And so before I do that, let me just remind some of you that might be joining for the first time, or some of you that aren't with us every morning. I do go live every morning at 7:30 Central Time. I am here Monday through Friday, here, same station, same bat channel, all of that good stuff. And we have different themes every day. And so Monday is all around mindset, setting the intention and getting things kicked off for a phenomenal and just amazing week. Tuesday is a training space where I want to give you those things that are going to make you most productive, help you level up. It's what we're going to do today. Wednesday is our wonder space. Good morning, Elaine. Wednesday is our wonder space, which is dancing in the possibilities. So it's all about imagine if and daring to stretch outside of our comfort zone. Thursday is a throwdown space, and we are doing thankful throwdown. So this is an opportunity to flex our gratitude muscle and have challenges on ways that we can really step into that space a little bit more. And then Friday is a feature space, which is going to be anything from books to podcasts to potential guests that I might have on the show, that we might do some bantering and playing, and I'm going to interview them a little bit so that you can get some other resources. Good morning, Shirley. So good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, and it is already off to being a terrific Tuesday. And so what I want to do is I want to come back to some of the discussion that we've had over the last couple of weeks about how to create your most productive, your most kick-ass, your most amazing day. And as you know, we've done a lot of discussion around what I call the bookends, which is how you start your day and how you finish your day. And so really, truly, the two most critical aspects of your day, your morning being your very first, everything, your morning sets the intention and tone for everything that happens throughout the rest of your day. If you do not honor that space as a non-negotiable for yourself, you are already letting someone else lead you versus putting yourself in a place to powerfully lead yourself. And so just keep that in mind, as that first half hour, hour and a half. For me, a lot of times it's 2 hours. That is a sacred space. That is a non-negotiable for leaders in terms of how they choose to show up. If you are really going to play at your highest and best level, if you are going to make sure that you are focused on the things that are either going to be the biggest revenue generators, or the biggest impact, or the biggest things that are just going to take you to the next level, the needle movers, then it is absolutely critical that you honor that morning and that you create space to set your intention. You would create space for your body to move and wake up and get energized and get rehydrated, and as well as that space to go deep and reflect on who you really are and how you want to show up. So I say that as we get into a bigger discussion today around productivity and really prioritization and productivity. And as I said, then your end of your day is a way to close out how you chose to show up, and really have that reflection space, that gratitude space, and let whatever the day was be, so that you can get a restful night's sleep. Hopefully, as long as the wind's not howling like it was here last night, hopefully that you can position yourself to have a really superb night's sleep, because most people are sacrificing their sleep right now, which is affecting not only their health, but it's affecting their mental, emotional, spiritual wellness. It's absolutely affecting the way that you show up and how you can serve. And it's one of those things that, again, needs to be a non-negotiable. Sleep is not a luxury. Sleep is an absolute necessity. And creating the ways so that you fully can rest and recharge your body is something that needs to be a priority for you. And so we're going to talk about priorities. Good morning, Martha. So again, welcome everybody. This again is Coffee Chats with Coach Candy. I'm going to be sucking down some of my bulletproof coffee this morning because, as I mentioned, for some of you that jumped on right away, there was some serious wind last night, and I get one heck of a wind tunnel effect sometimes by my bedroom window. And even with the best white noise, ambient sounds, there was a lot of howling going on last night. So I did not have the most restful sleep. And I will tell you, as someone who really honors that space, honors how much a quality, good quality night's sleep really is impactful and really necessary, I can already feel the effects. And so I am going to tap into all the reservoirs this morning because I am doing a big presentation this morning for one of my favorite groups. And so I want to make sure that I'm bringing my A game. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about bringing the A game, right? So the A game, once you've really put into practice the discipline of the bookends, so you're honoring how you start your morning with clear intention, clear ways to make sure that you're in alignment with who you choose to be, how you choose to serve, and you playing and being fueled at your highest and best capacity, and then looking at how you're going to wind down and reflect and have gratitude and close out a day so that your mind can recharge, so that your body can recharge, so that your spirit can recharge. Once you put that into place, let's talk about what happens in the middle of the day. And so many times, and again, I'm going to reference one of my favorite books, which is The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. Too many times, even after we spend that purposeful about how to start our day, how to put ourselves in the right space, as soon as that hour or half hour or 2 hours, whatever your morning ritual is, as soon as it's over, we find ourselves right back in this device, our laptops, our iPads, our phones, whatever it might be, and we already are dismissing the most powerful aspect of our day. Our mornings are everything. How you choose to spend your morning and where you focus your highest and best energy. And I say this, and you guys have heard me say this a lot, I am used to be, and I'm going to say that used to be, a self-professed, not a morning person. I was absolutely the person that's like, look, I am not a morning. I'm a late to bed, late to rise. That's what makes me healthy, wealthy, and wise. I was a night owl. I did not think getting up at 5 a.m. was something for me. I did not think playing at my highest and best level in the morning was something I could do. Something that just, I used to do a boot camp where I was up at 4:30 in the morning. I'd do a boot camp at 5:30. And as soon as I had to have Achilles surgery, even after 8 months of doing boot camp every morning, and there was a habit instilled, I went right back to the default of not getting up till 7:30 in the morning. And it wasn't until I started investigating some other things, both from a neurological standpoint, as well as just studies that show when you put your best energy effort forth first thing after you get up, you will have the higher levels of productivity, regardless of whether you think you're a morning person or a night person. And so I decided to test a little bit of that because I'm one of those that I don't like to teach things that I haven't tried myself, or I should say implemented myself, and made sure that I can test them and make sure that they're actually going to yield the kind of results that I want. And so I took on the challenge to do the 5 a.m. club and really give myself an hour and a half to 2 hours every morning. Now, I will say as a caveat, I show up with you guys on the computer, but hear me when I say I show up for you. I don't dink around on my social media. I don't dink around on my phone. I'm not into my email. I am here to be present and to serve you because this is me playing at my highest and best value, my highest and best level. This is me being able to show up and serve and lead right away. It also, with me doing this as a deliberate discipline every morning, it holds me accountable to set the tone for what the topic's going to be for me that day. And it's interesting how when I choose and I prepare, and I've told you before, I prepare for these calls. Even if it's just mentally, I ask myself, okay, so what's the space I want to train today? What's the space that I want to open up and create a discussion with this group? And what happens is when I do that, when I prepare for these calls, it also sets intention for what I'm going to prioritize on and what I'm going to prepare to do for the rest of my day. And so after my morning ritual, I get up, I hydrate, I move my body, I get into a space of reflection and really asking myself who I choose to be. So I'm journaling, I'm meditating, I do my manifestation exercises, and then I get into a space to set my intention. How do I choose to show up today? What are my 3 priorities? And I say 3 because this is where I'm going to challenge a lot of you to get out of the space of thinking that you have this endless list of priorities. No, you have this endless list of to-do tasks that oftentimes are not even meaningful work, that is just a list to keep you busy for the sake of being busy. And so when I say 3 priorities, I want you to really significantly think about 3. And I want to give you a little piece of trivia, right? So the word priority itself was singular for 500 years. When the word priority was first, discovered, invented, I don't know if that's the right way to say that, invented, discovered, made up. The word priority was a singular word. It meant one thing that you were focused on at any given time. Somewhere, someone decided that they had to be more, and so they added an IES to the end of it and made it plural. And what happened is we took that as a free opportunity to bombard ourselves and load ourselves with the pile of crap we keep putting on us. That is the endless list of to-dos. I have to do this. I have to do that. I should. And if you remember from the very first mindset discussion we got into, we talked about the difference between obligation and opportunity. And what happens is we put ourselves in this very heavy anchoring space of obligation versus a place of opportunity to really tap into our genius, to really tap into our gifts. Because here's the thing, if you are spending every minute, especially in your morning, checking email, responding to people, dinking around on social media, or doing all these other little piddly tasks that are these small to-dos, you are eroding your best energetic power. You are absolutely dismissing and disregarding your highest and best gifts and talent, and you are never going to find yourself in the genius zone. And so, by the way, as I'm talking, I would love to hear your thoughts and what's moving for you as I talk about this, because I'm really going to get lit up in this space, I can tell you in just a minute. And so this idea of what is your genius zone, right? Your genius zone is that space where you are playing your A game. Your genius zone is that space that lights you up so much that you feel it in every fiber of your being, that there's this visceral core connection to the work that you're doing, that you know so much that you are delivering your best work in that moment. That's your genius zone. Your genius zone is the very gifts that have been given to you. It's the things that light you up. It's the things that you're passionate about. It's the things that when you allow yourself space, and we talked yesterday about how to empty, when you allow yourself that space to empty and be still, it's where your heart, your mind, your soul wanders. That's your genius zone. It's the stuff that seems really easy that you dismiss because you're like, it's just so easy for me. Yes, that's your genius zone. It's easy for you because that is your talent. That's your gift. That's your amazing light to share into the world. And what happens is too many times we dismiss that and we pack all this nonsense on top of it. And so when you're coming out of your morning bookend, that space of power, that space, your victory hour, what I want you to do is realize that first, before, give yourself a buffer. I want you to have space to connect, either connect to nature, connect to your family. That's the opportunity to have a good breakfast. That's the opportunity to spend time with your puppy, your kids, getting them ready for school, whatever that might be, and be really present in that space. Really fill yourself up with the things that you love most. After you do your really focused power hour, which is that space of movement, that space of reflection, and that space of growth for you, what I want you to do is then the next space, that hour, half hour, I want you to really connect into the things that fill your heart. I want you to connect in a space that allows you to deeply connect to the things that are most meaningful for you. I want you to be in a space, again, it's not about being on technology and email and social media and your phone. Then what I want you to do is get into a space of what's called power hours. And so your morning, truthfully, and so say, for example, you're doing the 5 a.m. club. You get up at 5. Your first hour is a 20-20-20 split, which is 20 minutes for intense movement that gets your heart rate pumping, gets your blood moving, gets the oxygen moving, wakes up your body. So you are hydrating, you are working out, you're getting a good sweat, you're getting the endorphins going, you're getting the focus going for your day. And then the next 20 minutes is all about you. It's the meditation space, it's journaling, it's reflecting on who you are and how you get to show up. And then the third 20-minute space is all about, and I actually do 30-30-30. So like I said, mine's more like an hour and a half. Then it's the space of growth. So maybe you're listening to an inspiring podcast. Maybe you're doing a daily planner that sets your priorities and sets the tone for your day, but it's about where you want to focus your energy and giving yourself space to do that. So if you do that from 5 to 6 or 5 to 6:30, then that next hour, that next space is about connection. It's about filling your heart in a really deep and powerful way. And so maybe you get your kids ready for school. Maybe you and your husband or you and your wife spend time having a really powerful breakfast where you're talking about how you're going to have an amazing day. Maybe you do some more meditating. Maybe you go out and take a walk in nature. Maybe you connect with your dog or some music or something that just really fills your soul. And then what you're going to do is, so you're getting into like that, 7 o'clock space when that's done. What you're going to do there is you may be traveling to work, you may be setting your tone, whatever. But what I want you to think about is that time from like 7 to noon or 8 to 1. That is a critical genius zone. And so that is where you're going to be able to deliver your highest and best work if you've set that space of setting your wording up the right way. And I will tell you, it's really powerful. And so I love the way Robin Sharma talks about it. He talks about the 90-91, which is the first block of time. So that first power block is all about how do you spend 90 minutes every day on the one thing that's going to be a needle mover over the next 90 days. So if you look at the next 90 days in your business, in your life, when you look at what's significantly going to level you up to the next space, where what's going to be the game changer for you, what's going to be the thing that's going to be the biggest needle mover, biggest priority, when you allow yourself 90 minutes every day for 90 days to focus on that one thing, you will see significant results. And for those of you that know, I just recently launched a funnel on my whole corporate playbook system. And I will tell you that my first 90 minutes actually it was over the last couple of weeks, it wasn't even 90 days, was really in that funnel development. It was really in educating myself around that. And actually I would say it's about 45 days because I did the challenge well over a month ago. And so every day I spent an hour and a half, 2 hours just focused on what I needed to learn, how to develop my skill set, how to become an expert in those spaces. And it's still a space that I'm giving myself that opportunity. Now, this morning, for example, my power hour or my 90-91 is going to be a speaking engagement. I get to go do what I do best, which is go share a message and, fire up an audience and get them thinking differently. So I get to do that. So sometimes I have those in the mornings or things. And you're going to work around things in your schedule, but I want you to think about that 90-91, how to focus on one thing for 90 days for 90 minutes each day and being the first thing. So it's that concept. I haven't read Brian, the biggest, most, the most complicated, the challenging task first, because if you can get yourself in a position to accomplish something, that's that big frog, and eat that frog first, the rest of your day is easy. And what happens is we do all these like really mindless stuff. I'm going to say stuff instead of the other word I was about to choose. We do mindless stuff with our best and highest energy. And we wonder then why we're depleted and why we don't accomplish anything that's meaningful later on. Because when we're dragging, when we're a little bit tired, that's when we can do the mindless stuff that lights us up no matter what, or the things that don't require us to be fully present. But when you need to be fully present, you need to use your best reservoir of potential energy and turn that into kinetic energy so that you can get the momentum that you want. So when you focus on the one thing that's going to be really that game changer, then what you do is the remainder of your morning is you focus on the other two priorities. And so when I say 3 priorities, I mean 3 priorities. I mean a space where you are finding those 3 things that are going to be most significant for you, your business, your life. And I'm going to also add that one of those 3 priorities more than likely should be about you. Because here's the thing, if you are not making yourself a priority, if you are not putting yourself in a position to make sure that you're caring for your health, your wellness from a physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, physiological space, you can never show up and be at your highest and best level to share your genius with others. And so it's interesting because a lot of times when I work with clients and we go through this whole process around how to prioritize your 3 big rocks, those 3 big things that are going to be game changers for you. And I always say in the next 6 to 12 months, what are your three big rocks? And so you look at those rocks and you say, all right, I really want to focus on this. What it is about, then how am I going to allow myself to personally play at my highest and best level? What do I need to do? Is it that I need a different workout routine? Is it that I need to adjust my lifestyle in terms of what I eat, what I put in my body, how I fuel my body? Is it about carving out space for the bookends? Is it about ways that I'm making sure that I'm playing more or honoring a space to give myself that white space, that creative space, that empty space? Whatever it might be, I want you to realize that you've got to make that a priority if you're going to have any chance of being successful in that space, because what you prioritize, what you plan, and what you put on your calendar as real commitments are the things that get done. Everything else is a bunch of lip service. And so people intend things all the time. Oh, I'm going to make best intentions. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. It's one of the worst phrases in the world. I'm gonna. First of all, it sounds like we're extremely lazy. I'm gonna. And what happens is when you keep I'm gonna-ing all over yourself, you're putting yourself in a place to cop out and a lot of lip service. And so a ROI, a real return on investment, whether it be time, money, energy, people, resources, your lifestyle, culture, anything, only happens when you take action on that intention, because intention without action is seriously just lip service. And so people all the time will be like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this. I'm going, and there's a lot of try and gonna, and the Yoda in me, my inner Star Wars, comes out when I'm like, there is no try, there is only do. And when you realize that and you start to plan and prioritize and create a calendar, and we're going to get into a space where I'm going to teach you how to build your ideal calendar. I'm giving you the components right now. So it starts with your bookends. And so what happens is oftentimes when people think about ideal calendar, it's all about everybody else's stuff first. And I'm going to challenge you to think counterintuitively, to start to learn how to create your calendar from what you need first. Your cup must be full or overflowing before you can ever stand in a space to be in your genius zone and share that with other people. And so I really want you to think about that. I'm going to pause for a minute because I need a little bit more of a caffeine jolt. And I'm curious, what are your thoughts? What things are showing up as I talk about the 3 priorities and how to map out your morning more deliberately so that you're really doing your best priority work in the morning. So you're going to do your 90-91, which is that 90-minute block of just that massive game changer, needle mover. That's going to be the one thing that's going to be significant for getting you to the next level. And priorities to really help you focus in that space, so that in the afternoon, then you can do your calls, then you can do your secondary stuff, then you can do the stuff that, you don't have to be as present. It's not to say that you won't be present, but you don't have to tap into that really deep potential energy so that you can kick ass and take things to the next level. So I'm curious, thoughts, questions about prioritization and productivity and how it, may affect you, where you might be getting stuck. I'd love to hear from you guys. So I'll give you a quick minute so I can catch my breath too, because I'm going to be doing a lot of talking this morning. Which, by the way, for those of you that are joining us at Higher Texas, I will be talking about how to destroy the noise. So this will fall hand in hand with that conversation around how you prioritize, how you're showing up, and how you get rid of all the crap in between these 2 ears that's getting in your way, the monkey mind and the stuff that's not serving you. So what you guys got to say? Martha, I get stuck in feeling overwhelmed with everything. Yes. So I think that's a thank you, one, for the vulnerability around that, Martha. I appreciate that. And so I want you to think about even inside of your 3 priorities, and we're going to get into this even more as a separate training segment. I want to give you one piece at a time, because I also don't want to overwhelm you with new strategies and tools and things that can significantly change your life. But when you get into the 3 rocks, so the 3 rocks are really those big overarching themes around, this is what's going to significantly help me look back a year from now and say, I don't even recognize who that was, to have that kind of impact in your life and that kind of growth. What happens then is we need to take each one of those priorities and break them down into bite-sized buckets, or what I call milestones. And so they need to be almost a reverse engineer process that says, if this is the ultimate outcome of what I want and by when, then what I need to do is really break that down and look at what are all of the pieces or milestones for how I might get there. And so what happens is too many times people be like, I want to accomplish this. And it's this big, huge ass goal. And they get paralyzed in, I don't even know where to start, or it's so big, or they're trying to eat the elephant, right? They're trying to completely take down an elephant in a single bite, instead of realizing that you've got to create a space to be successful, to help wire your brain for momentum. And so what do I mean by that? What happens is oftentimes we don't create small wins, especially right out of the gate, that are aligned with where we want to go with that big priority. And what happens is when we create those small wins, our brain starts to say, yeah, I got this, I can do this. And momentum starts to move forward. Because too many people sit and wait for motivation to kick in. They're like, oh, I need to get motivated. I need to figure out what to do. And what they don't realize is they're never going to get motivated. You need momentum to get motivated. You don't need motivation to get momentum. If you keep waiting for motivation to get momentum, you're going to be waiting for a really long time. Because oftentimes it's scary. It's the next level. It's the uncomfortable. It's the things we don't know. And we sit there, we're like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. And we cop out. And so whenever you find yourself saying, I can't do this, I don't know how, what I want you to do is first question, I want you to say then, how can I figure this out? If I don't know how to do this now, or if I can't do this now, how can I figure out what I need to know how to do that? 2 months ago, I did not know how to build a funnel from start to finish. And what I did is I signed up for a program and allowed myself to get training, and I invested the time piece by piece, day by day on a 30-day challenge to allow myself to get what I needed, the access to what I needed to make something possible. And so when you're feeling that overwhelm, I want you to break it down piece by piece, and I want you to think about what's the first milestone. The other thing that I want you to realize, and this is huge, is that you need to celebrate at each space through the milestones, because that's the other piece that shuts people down as you wait until the whole thing is done. Instead of finding the small ways to celebrate, even if it's giving yourself a gold star and a visual chart that you create for yourself, that space to celebrate, you start to reward yourself, and subconsciously, your subconscious starts to cheer and say, yes, we can do this. Let's keep going. You got this. But we need that reward system. We need a way to acknowledge the effort that we put forward and know that you're rewarding the effort, not necessarily the outcome. Because I want you to realize that failure is not failure. Failure is just feedback. So if something's not working because you did something, it's simply an opportunity to say, okay, that doesn't work. What am I going to try next? Because there's infinite possibilities of the equation that can get you there. And I want you to realize that sometimes you're failing because there's a gap, and you need either training, a tool, resource, people, money. You need something. So you want to fail so that you can uncover what the gap is and build a plan then to say, then how am I going to cross that bridge? So let me see what y'all are writing. Jeff, I train in the morning. It's just part of my routine. Do you recommend me moving that and using my energy for my mind rather than my physiological being? I do this so that I can make sure I get my training in, which you know is my business. Now, Jeff, for you, I think you should keep exactly what you're doing in the morning, because your highest and best capacity, your genius zone is your training space. It's how you deliver and how you're growing other people. And so you are living by example and setting that tone that is that for you, your priority is your self-care, because it is your business. It's how you're putting that out there. So your number one needle mover might be ways that you're significantly upping that to get better gains, which I know in watching some of what you've been doing that you do that tremendously. So it may be things around how you're teaching what you're doing in that space. And so for you, and anybody, I would say if that's one of your things that's really a core of who you are, absolutely do that in the morning. There's also a space in the afternoon where you can call what's called your second wind workout, which is when sometimes the energy is depleted and you need to get that back up. But for those of you in particular that are fitness coaches, that are trainers, that are people that your whole business livelihood is around helping people in their health and wellness, then absolutely one of your biggest priorities ought to be that you're creating that space in the morning so that you can maximize your productivity in that space, so that then you can go out and train others to do the same. And so that's a personal choice, Jeff. I do think you may want to find a way to bring more in from a mental capacity as well, so that you can give both aspects of that wellness of that space of health, because health is more than just your body. Health is health and emotion, wellness, in spirit, mind, body, in every aspect of us, right? And so that would be the only thing to challenge yourself with, is to say, is there anything that I could be doing that would significantly level up my own health, my own wellness to the next level, so that I can then deliver and train that to my clients as well. And so there's things that I'll do in the morning that may be me honing my skills, such as I will practice a talk, or I will think about how to restructure one of my workshops, or I will do it. That's my morning time, because that's the gift that I share with other people. And so that's my genius zone. So I think that's a really awesome question. And so anything that's in your genius zone ought to be the stuff that you're focused on in the morning. It's your best and highest level. So if that means training yourself, that's your genius zone. Honing your craft, honing your skills ought to be stuff that you're doing in your highest and best energy, versus just answering phone calls, just checking emails, just doing some of the administrative or back respond to it. But ultimately it comes down to what makes the most sense for you. The one thing I would challenge yourself with, Jeff, is that you are adding that mental component and leveling that up as well, so that you're training both and teaching people to do the same. And I know that you do that. I would just continue to challenge yourself to say, am I bringing the best I can bring in both those spaces? And what's going to give me that cutting edge, so that I can help other people create that game-changing space for themselves as well. Ela, I hope that helped. Elaine, we too often look at the big picture instead of looking how we can get there. Yes, and I also want to caution the how we can get there. One of the things that does shut us down and gives us overwhelm is trying to get into the space of controlling how we get there. And I really want to emphasize that how, when, and why are none of your business. Those are the domain of the universe, of God, of whatever you want to put it, the label around it. How you get to where you want to go is not your business. Now, the discipline, the things that are aligned to it are your business. And so you want to ask yourself, am I doing activities? Am I doing things that allow me to open up access to receive what I said I want? And am I doing the things that are congruent and aligned with how I said I want to be and who I said I want to show up as? But the actual how is not your business. Because what happens is we get into, well, this isn't working, this is how it has to happen, because this is how so-and-so did it, and I want to be the same, and we do this comparison, and we get in the space and we shut ourselves down, because it starts to show up differently than how we thought it had to, and we miss the opportunities because we're so looking for the silver platter and the gold package and the red bow, that we miss that it might have come in the back door with some ratty newspaper that the bird pooped over, that you got to pull back the layers and see that the gift is inside. So be very mindful of, while there is an opportunity to break it down into what needs to happen. And so I want to change that a little bit and not say, how do I get there? It's, what can I do now that's aligned and congruent with helping me open up access to that space? What discipline, what habits, what ways can I hone my skill? Can I hone my craft, so that I can give myself that space to grow, to make that outcome? And so, for example, say you're going to write a book, and one of your milestones is, okay, actually write the book, right? If you're going to have a book published by the end of the year, you actually have to have space to write. So instead of saying how, I would say, what activity do I need to be doing that is congruent, that's going to help me hit that first milestone, which is finish the book, is to create space every day to write. And that would be an example where, for those of you that the book is a top priority, that you're doing that work in the morning. You're doing that work when your mind is really focused and firing on all cylinders, and you're doing that work in a space where you can play at your highest and best capacity. That is not when you're done with your day to sit there at 8 o'clock at night and think you're going to write a book. No, you write the book. If that's your priority, you create that write space. That might be your 90-minute block. And by the way, just writing. Because what happens is somebody's like, well, I don't know what to write about. Doesn't matter. What you do is you create the space to say, I'm just going to write. Whatever comes to me, I'm just going to write. I'm just going to write. And when you create that practice, then your brain says, okay, we're here. And what happens is the magic just starts to unfold versus you going, well, what are my chapters? What are the titles? What am I going to write about? And we get so locked up in how, which is the editing space, that we lose sight of the creative genius, which is tapping into that zone to just say, what can I do to show up in congruence and in alignment in this space? And I hope that makes sense. But I would change that a little bit, Elaine, to not worry on so much how you can get there, more around what can you be doing to open up access and alignment for what you say is most meaningful and important to you, and creating the discipline and the habits that you are consistently showing up to open up that space. So Terry, prioritization has always been the toughest for me. There's so much fun to do. I can see all of the things that need to be done and find myself bouncing. Use the high performance planner, Brendan Bouchard. Love me some Brendan. And it's really helped me, especially the question, the big projects I have to keep in mind I want to take on, even if I can't act towards them today, that allows me. Yeah, I am a huge fan, by the way, and y'all know I love me some Brendan. I've done his mastermind, done everything. I love this planner, love this planner, love this planner. It actually has been phenomenal. And it's exactly what Terry's talking about. It's when you bounce all over the place and you have a highly intuitive, creative visualization mind that is got, every time you're turning around, you're like, ooh, idea, ooh, shiny object, ooh, I want some of that. I am going to tell you, you are going to want to think about having a virtual, which is an electronic version, and a actual physical one you can see, parking lot. For those of you that don't know what a parking lot is, this is a term that comes from corporate. When you're brainstorming and you have ideas, it's a way to put ideas that are not priorities in a space that allows you to come back to them later. So I want you to get very clear on what your 3 priorities are. And as those little shiny squirrel moments show up, I want you to ask yourself, is this aligned with one of those 3 things? And I'm going to teach you some other tools, and I may even do it this week, some other tools around how to prioritize against competing priorities, but I want to be mindful of the time. And like I said, I only want to share one concept at a time because I don't want to overwhelm you in the same space, but I want you to think about rocks that if you spend the time to really ask yourself what is most meaningful for me in the next 6 to 12 months, what is going to be the game changer for me personally and me professionally, you will be like, yeah, that doesn't really fit. That wasn't planned. That's new. And then what I want you to do is I want you to put it on a parking lot. When you give it a name and you put it somewhere, what you're going to do then, and again, we're going to get into some of these other skills, is you're going to create a way that you have a review process. There are metrics. There are ways that you are going to review how you're showing up your priority. Okay. So are my priorities still the same? Yes. Does that fit? Do any of those things fit? And sometimes you look at the parking lot, you're like, what was I talking about there? That's the opportunity to dismiss it, because just because the shiny object shows up doesn't mean it requires your attention. What happens is we get distracted and we get off course. So when you start to create the discipline, and for those of you creatives out there who are like, I hate prioritization, I hate structure, let me tell you that if you want real freedom, if you want more creativity, you need structure and flexibility in the framework. And the only way that you will play in your genius zone is to create space. Now, your structure might look different for somebody. Somebody might have a certain routine that they have every day, and it's the way they do things because they like that type of structure. You might just have a theme. Look at me, I am a squirrel. Look at the way I do these calls. And personally, I would get bored if I was talking about the same thing every day. So I wanted a way to keep myself interested and wanting to show up every morning to hold myself accountable. So I created a different theme for every day. Some of that is for you, but honestly, in all transparency, that's more for me so that I can have different things that feed my creative spirit so that I'm not getting distracted on every little turn, and I can bring different things and real stuff to you in the moment, so that I feel like I can engage, and I've now structured my days to fall in line with the theme that I'm bringing to you. So that, like I said earlier, when I plan for these calls, it's because I've planned my day and I'm resonating with what I need for that day. that's what I'm bringing to you, so that it not only serves you, but it serves me for what I'm focused on and making sure that I stay at task. So I hope that helped a little bit, Terry, but a parking lot is going to be your best friend. And I want you to realize that not everything that inspires you, not everything that lights you up is for you. And there's a process in terms of how to qualify whether or not something is the right thing for you to take now. And one of the questions is to ask yourself, is this planned and is this mine? Because some of those ideas are not. And I want you to realize that if your 3 priorities, if you took the time to really organize your 3 priorities, then honor and make sure that everything you're doing is staying connected and aligned to that. Jeff, awesome, yay. Killian, good morning. Martha, thank you so much. You are so welcome. Replying to Elaine, right? There's always something little we can do to deliver value right now. Yes, yes, yes. But it's so often hard to shift thinking to find them and to do them. Yes. Here's the thing. A lot of you keep waiting and putting your ducks in a row. You're like, I just want to make sure I have this, 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 and this. No. What you need to do is step forward and act now. Action is your biggest opportunity. Making a decision, taking action, stepping forward and creating the momentum to get motivated, even if you have to change direction and change the decision later. Spending too much time researching, putting the ducks in a row, doing all that stuff is not doing anything. And I want you to ask yourself in every moment, who am I not serving right now? And by the way, if you have to ask yourself, am I playing small? Am I not showing up? Who am I not serving? The answer is you are playing small, because back to that space of genius zone, when you're in your genius zone, when you are playing on all like cylinders, when you are fired up and you are in that space, you know it, you feel it, you never have to ask, am I showing up and playing my A game? You know your A game intuitively. So if you have to ask yourself, am I playing my A game right now? The answer is no. And I'm just going to be that direct and hardcore, and I'm just going to throw it out there and say, if you have to ask yourself any of those questions, know that you're not showing up full out. So the question is, what can I do right now that helps me move forward? And it could be one thing that says, okay, the one thing I control is I can hone my craft. So if I know that speaking is something I want to do, I'm going to give myself 30 minutes a day to do an impromptu presentation in my living room to practice and hone my craft and hone my skill. My game changers, launch teen and adult ClickFunnels and See Me Rise. Absolutely. So your morning should be all built around how you're creating that space. So how's that for everybody? I love the questions. I love the comments. And I'm going to wrap this up because we're actually going long today. But this is one of my hot buttons. I love to talk about this. I think we have created such a culture of busy for the sake of being busy. And you don't realize you have the control to create your life. And the more you give yourself space, the more you create the empty, the more you fill your cup first, the more you will actually get done, and the more white space and free time and playtime and enjoyment you will create for yourself. I love that Einstein said that time is an illusion. It is absolutely an illusion, and you can actually create more time when you're focused on the right things for you. So Terry, my immediate game changers, launch teen and adult See Me Rise ClickFunnels, offer, speak, teach the same content as I put in ClickFunnels to local churches, schools, Girl Scout troops, and say yes to all of them. Facilitate one church. Love that. And that there is power. Facilitate one church transition through Zeidler Center and Civil Discourse to help both the church and build relationship with Zeidler and the church, knowing that they will be something we can do together for See Me Rise. See that? There's power in that. There is power when you state and declare your 3 big rocks. So I want you to spend some time today, this week, working on what your 3 big rocks are. I want you to write them down, and I want you to put them in a visual space so that they're a reminder every day. And when you do your morning bookend, when you do your setting intention, I want you to then say, what are my 3 priorities today that are going to help me move these rocks forward? So with that, powerful training today. Love, love, love the conversation. Keep them coming. Tomorrow's our wonder space. We're going to play tomorrow. So after we've had a really big mindset day and a really big training day, tomorrow's going to be our play space. We're going to do Imagine If, and we're going to dance in some possibilities, and we're going to have a really good time. So I look forward to all of you joining me again tomorrow. This is Coach Candy. I will be here as always at 7:30 a.m. Central Time. Every day, Monday through Friday. So with that, I hope y'all will take some time to focus on your 3 big challenges. I love you. I love all the hearts, Terry. Thank you. I love you, love you, love you. Mwah. Go out and lead from your highest place, stand in your genius zone, and go shine your light because there's people that need you right now. I love y'all. I'll talk to you tomorrow.